Hi everybody, I'm really happy to see you again for another video tutorial. Let's start. And today I'm going to draw with charcoal on paper. I will leave you all information about the materials on the description box below. Anyway, I'm using charcoal on cartridge paper, 300 milligrams. You can find in any art shop in London. To erase, I use a putty rubber with a grey color and graphite pencil. In other words, can I say I will do a mixed media drawing? Yes, of course. And as you can see, I start directly with charcoal on paper without any drawing at all. I like to call this approach the method of beginners, as the beginners begin the drawing for the first time. Is it possible start from the end towards the beginning of the drawing? I always asked myself this question because when I started to study drawing and painting, the teachers said to me, Luca, you have to do first of all the outline, the drawing, proportions, then second stage, shape of the shadow, form, shape of the light, and so on. But this process to develop the drawing, it is just one method, and I can use different way to express myself, especially if I am a professional artist or advanced student. Hi, my name is Gianluca Rotelli. I'm a professional art teacher. I had been studying 5 years at the Accademia delle Belle Arti and 3 years at the Florence Academy of Art in Florence. After that, I started my career as a professional painter and art teacher. And of course, I continue to study art by myself. This method, it is really interesting because instead of proceed with a classical approach, it starts to express emotions without logical and constructive drawing. In other words, I allowed to myself express what I feel inside without barriers. And another huge problem, it is how I scale the drawing of the model in my page. And with this method, it will be easier to find it intuitively. I saw many methods on YouTube that they tell that you have to block the top line and the bottom, and you can't move these two marks, but you can move the width of the portrait. Okay, I don't want to say that it is wrong, but we need to be aware that there is other methods, other way to figure out my drawing. Especially if I start straight away to block my drawing into the height and into the width, I cannot express myself. That's the main question. How can I express myself and at the same time have good scale and proportions? For sure, what I suggest to you, and it is my opinion, don't lock your drawing at the beginning in a mental grid. Give at yourself the opportunity to experiment any way to get the idea in general of the portrait without features, as I'm doing now. And I forgot to tell you that I'm doing this portrait from life. And I want to be honest with you, drawing from life is 100 times more difficult than copy just a picture, okay? You have to be aware that if you want to really learn, you have to work from life. Okay, by the time I start to see my impression of the light and impression of the shadow, and I can build up on this vague idea, proportions. As you can see, it is a completely different method, different approach, because now I can fit them in my drawing. Imagine that emotions are like the water of the lake that has not beaches around. My task will be to build around the lake a gentle and soft beaches that can draw the contour of the lake in a delicate and elegant way. Sorry if I'm too philosophical, as my friend said to me, but sometimes it is essential in order to improve my workflow. And I hope it will be really helpful even for you. What is the real meaning of the drawing? I always ask at myself why I have to spend a lot of time to improve my skills of drawing rather than start directly on canvas. And the answer, it is always the same. Drawing, it is like a treasure map. If I don't follow the guide of the map, I will never have success. I will never reach the treasure. And also, if you do a couple of drawings of the same subject, the same sitter, for example, I will memorize the treasure map. Imagine you drive a road for the first time. You have to go slow. You have to be careful because there is many curves and cars. You don't know the street. But if you do the same road for 2 or 3 times, it will be easy for you to reach the end. Consider drawing as your favorite app, as for example, Google Map or City Map if you live in London. Anywhere would you like to go, it will bring you there safely. How many times have you done a complete painting and at the end you felt that you lost yourself? Must be something wrong, something doesn't work. I think you already had this experience. The answer, it is always the same. Because you haven't done a correct drawing from the beginning, you don't know the way. You don't know where is the treasure. You don't have the map. That's why you reach the point when you paint that you lost yourself and you don't know where you should go. Okay, I know that you have these thoughts in mind because I had in the past. And believe me, I did a lot of bad paintings because I didn't study the drawing accurately before to start the painting. Okay, now it should be clear. Drawing, it is your guide. It's not just lines on paper. It is your map. And you have to follow it until the end of the journey. Okay, distance from one point to another. I realized that distance from my eye and beginning of the nostril is not correct. Because when I tried to join the outline from the tip of the nose to the bottom of it, I didn't see a clear connection between them and I took a straight decision. I rubbed out everything and I repositioned my design 2 millimeters up. This decision, it is really tough for a beginner student because it has to admit that all he has done was wrong. I know it is frustrating to think like that, but as you can see now, my line bending towards the lower part of the nose and the connection works well. Furthermore, I tilt diagonally up the line towards the nostril. As you can see, I care at small little things that they bring my drawing on another level. And now I can see that my lips are not in a correct place and I have to rub out as well this area. But before to go in through the details, I want to take a distance from this area and I figure out again where is the hairline. Okay, so do not stick to one part of the drawing for too long, because for some secret of the mind, if I overwork in one area, I will be less objective. And I draw again the outline of the mouth. Do you understand what I'm going to do now? Because I lifted 2 millimeters my nose, I have to lift the lips as well, and also I will have a domino effect until the chin. That's why I didn't draw it exactly from the beginning. It is an excellent advice. Don't put too much details from the start to the end of the drawing until the most important parts, eyes, nose and mouth, had done correctly. I worked a lot in this area, and as you might see, I continued to figure out construction lines from tip of the nose, chin, corner of the mouth and chin. I also want to remind you that this drawing is made from life. That's why I have to be flexible. I need to understand all movements of the model. And since she is not a statue, she is a live person, she cannot stay firm for a long time. I must change my mindset. I don't draw the model as a picture. I project an imaging of the model in my mind, and I'm going to draw that idea. Also, I don't attempt to move my drawing by shading. And I know because it is a common mistake to try figure out the drawing or try to move the drawing by shadow. It is definitely wrong process, because when you had done everything, you will realize that the drawing is wrong, and then you must move important parts 2 millimeters, and all have you done, including shadows, shapes and planes, must be rubbed out. Once I have unified the shadows in a general half tone, and I use a stamp to do it, I start to investigate how I may do the shadow around the form of zygomatic bone. I'm using general charcoal pencil. At this point, the way I move my pencil is not accidental. My cross-hatching belong from the idea that all shapes and planes have to be explicable. I made a mistake and I want to correct it now. Distance from eyelid and eyebrow is too short. I need to enlarge the space in between them. As you can see, I lift the eyebrow 3 millimeters up. I know it can be really frustrating to move one area of the drawing that it is already done, but it is a part of the process, and you have to consider that I spent all my life in drawing and I have to continue to study. I must improve, and I did a lot of bad drawings. It is a part of artistic career to fail and start again. One of the big mistakes that I did in the past. It was to figure out too early one specific style or to try to copy the style of another artist. And before to incorporate new informations about drawing deeply, he takes a long time. To be clear, for example, if you do a copy of Bouguereau from 19th century, for example, he becomes really popular on YouTube. And even if you do a good work, it doesn't mean that you will be able to repeat the same things in another drawing or painting. And do you know why? Because the brain will constantly forget what has been studied. How can I reduce this issue, or how can I avoid it? The answer is practice, my friends. And how long should I practice? Do you really believe that in art you start from one point and you reach another point as in a normal job? And even though if you track your learning process by collecting drawing signs the first to the last one, do you think that you really improve your drawing? Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. Every night when you go to bed to sleep, you will forget everything. Okay? And when you wake up in the morning, your brain will be clean. That's why, to remember important passages of the drawing, I have to do exercise every day. And also the mindset has to be consistent and powerful. Okay, Luca, I draw every day, but I still not have improvements. Why? Because my mindset is not correct. I don't pay enough attention. I think that drawing is like to take a coffee or tea. No, it's not like this. Okay, Luca, but when I draw, I cannot give 100% of my energy. Maybe I can give just 20% or 30% because I do just sketch drawing. No, sorry. It doesn't work like this. I have to give all my life in one sketch if I want to have success. I know to become a professional artist, it is not easy. And where I should start? I saw many points of view on YouTube, and also I had debate with my colleagues. After my classical training in the school, how can I persist in studying by myself? I should copy old masters or I should copy the nature. I think the best way is the last one. In fact, when I pay attention to what I have in front of me, I can finally see all my flaws and my weakness. I can understand where I should go. The nature will show me where all my mistakes are. When you draw a natural phenomena, every preconception must be removed. Always I said to my students, pay attention and look at the model in a deep way. Don't see only the appearances, because I noticed that a lot of students they don't look at the model. When I say in a deep way, it means don't draw the preconcept you have of the nature. Also, any new sessions, I can understand that the model changes her mental and psychological state. During the passing of time, her emotions can traveling from an idea to another. Consequently, the facial expressions of her will be multiple and different. It is so interesting to get the psychological interpretation of the model, because day by day I may notice that all these changes are the same. It's like a circle. I can see on one session 2 or 3 expressions that represents her character and personality. As an artist, My task is to catch or to choose the best expression that I would like to see on my portrait. That's why drawing from life, it is more deeply than drawing from a picture. When you draw from picture, you see just one expression. I know it's easy because she doesn't move, but it's not the same. I'm really enjoy when I watch other artists are doing video lessons on illustrations and digital art. I would like to have the same level of imagination and skills of them. It will be fantastic to be able to draw any fantasy that I have in my mind. But at the moment, it is not possible for me because I have to work in another way. I have to train in myself to think differently. For example, I should copy other famous illustrators until I have completely memorized the most varied positions of the human body. And this approach required a lot of effort. I need to challenge myself. And I'm sure I will do it because I want to develop even this aspect of art. And I'm sure I will have a great benefit even in my career as a portrait painter. In conclusion, to become an illustrator, I have to follow a different method from those who study for to become a portrait painter. If you want to be a portrait painter, you need to improve different skills. Okay. Yes, we have to draw from life, not just from imagination. Imagination can helps a lot, but it is not essential, as in a comics drawing. In other words, I have to understand who stay in front of me. Who is this person? Who is this model? What she is thinking? What she would like to be? Where she would like to go? What are her aspirations? All those questions are significant to have an intriguing and fascinating portrait. In portrait painting, difficult subjects are easy to do it, and simple subjects, as a young and beautiful woman, are more difficult. Because when you draw, for example, an old man with a lot of wrinkles, with sharp face, it's easy to get the drawing correct because I have a lot of reference points that help me understand the proportion, shapes and squares. But when I have a young lady, also if I don't have strong cast shadows from one source of light, then it will be more complicated. I have to understand more anatomy and structure of the drawing rather than have an superficial vision of shape of the light and shape of the shadow. Okay, let me talk about Patreon page because I noticed that a lot of students and friends don't know what it is. It is a platform. Has a Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And what is it for? Artists like me can upload their videos, tutorial, and if you want to see it, you have to just to pay £3 or £10. It depends of the tiers that you choose. You will pay a monthly and you can unsubscribe wherever you like. Are the videos different from YouTube? Yes, there are. Because in YouTube, I will show you just one part of the lesson. But on Patreon, I will give you all informations and you will see the lessons at the real time plus a narrative description. And another essential things, you will support my work because I don't have any sponsor and I do everything by myself, video editing and voiceover. And this takes a long time. Also, I give you special drawing that I did for you and you can have a free access and you have opportunity to talk to me by message and you will be a part of a lovely community and you will see my paintings before the other. And once a month, I will give you an important task to do at home. On the description box below the video, there is a link of my Patreon page. I got an email from an old student and he showed me his oil painting and asked me for a critique. And I said to him the truth. His drawing had improved but could be better. And I said to him that he should do as I do. Sometimes I stop to paint for 2 or 3 months and I spend all this period of time in develop my drawing and improve my proportions. Do you know what he said to me? Luca, I don't care because I will figure out my drawing when I'm painting with oil technique. To be honest, I don't know where does this idea come from, but it is the worst approach that you can have if you want to have success in the portrait. If you have this idea in your mind, please remove it as soon as possible. Because if you are convinced that you can adjust your drawing during the workflow when you paint, at least you can lose like 10 years. Yes, really, 10 years. And after that, you will realize that I was right. And to be honest, it is not great success as a teacher because I don't want to have right if you lose 10 years. My goal is to give all informations as much I can to transform your technique from beginner to advanced. And maybe you can become a professional painter better than me. Okay, we are at the end of the lesson. Thank you for following me up to here. If you want to see this drawing, you can go on my website. I will give you the link below. And if you like, buy it. Why not?